Jeremiah 30, starting at 4. And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. And before I get on with this video, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, with double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopeful elect. And your brother Yahweh called from the Great Millstone Orlando camp. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, concerning the 2/3 of our people, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, West Indians, and Haitians, and concerning this message of peace, which there is no peace coming to you tribes, as you know, there is this pretty much this almost silent epidemic, so to say, of these raids, families being separated, Jake getting basically kidnapped to not be heard from again, unalived bodies being found washed up on the shores and things of that nature. Again, concerning this message of there is no peace, it's a voice of trembling and fear. Again, to the 2/3, because although there was a great destruction that is getting ready to sweep throughout Israel, and of course, Israel being a people before it's a place. So wherever Israelites are at, there's coming a great travail, a great destruction, a great judgment. But alongside with that, the Lord did promise a great salvation, a great preservation. As it says in 2 Ezra, the 9th chapter, all those that, in not so many words, showed their faith by their works, and vice versa, they're going to be preserved from the said perils, the bad times that we are seeing. For those that are paying attention, you know, Esau more and more surrounding the tribes, putting certain laws into place, putting certain things in the books. And through the power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai on the left hand, Esau is setting the stage for him to come down with that great wrath. And again, with this great destruction that's getting ready to come and sweep Israel, there is going to come a great salvation. As a matter of fact, when you read when you jump down to verse 10, it says, "Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and be in quiet, and none shall make him afraid." So again, you know, the Lord, he promised that Jacob shall not utterly be consumed, because there's going to be so much death. It's going to be as if As the scriptures say, 2 people to a city, 10 people to a city, roughly paraphrasing. Which goes to show you how bad it's going to be, how dangerous it's going to be. And right before our very eyes, like I said, Esau, he's setting that trench, he's setting that stage. And like Yahushua told Jake over 2,000 years ago, when Yahushua, he wept prior to the siege of Jerusalem. Yahushua knew Jake, man, they just didn't have any idea what was getting ready to happen to him. But hey, you know, the Lord's grace is coming to an end. And as the scriptures say, Jake, they rejected knowledge. Well, we're coming into the time where Yahweh Shema Shah is going to reject all those that rejected him. So slowly but surely, you know, Jacob's trouble, man, is vastly approaching. So with that being said, of course, back with a series of videos. Again, more groundwork, more justification. All right. And to those of us not being ignorant of Satan and his devices, you know, we see, you know, as much as in particular the men of Great Millstone, starting up from Apostle Tahar, an apostle, all the apostles and bishops and all the men on down, being and this is just speaking out of the obviousness, you know, being the true prophets, the real prophets of Yahweh Shema Shai. As much as we get shitted on, as much as we get looked down upon, the fact that we're trying to sound the alarm and blow the trumpet, because everyone, you know, the prophets just get so much flank, you know, oftentimes because how the message is presented, rather than Jake listening to the overall message. You know, Jake is more offended by how the message is presented, but it just goes to show you that the sense of urgency that we have, because again, we're shunned upon for trying to tell our people, but it goes to show you that we really care about our people. You know, the prophets, man, they are the most unselfish people. Everything that we do is for our people, it's for the commonwealth of our people. But of course, they don't see it that way. And that's why they're just going to have to get taken when the floodgates of hell, Yahweh Bashim Shah unleashes that floodgate, the floodgates of hell. You know, so with that being said, slacking for rambling. You know, these clips, these videos, I'm not making any type of monetary gain. All right. This is just for informational purposes. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to play this first video.
This is the most disturbing and alarming piece of information I have ever had to share. Trump just signed an executive executive order criminalizing homelessness and directing states to institutionalize individuals with mental health disorders and substance abuse disorders. This is not a joke. The ACLU is all over this. I don't know why this isn't on every single news outlet. Share this information with absolutely everybody and anybody you can. This is truly unimaginable. The name of this executive order is Ending Crime and Disorder on American Streets. You, of course, can go to the whitehouse.gov and read the entire order.
And Lord willing, I'll look into it. Or maybe one of these, because, all these guys, the Lord, the way that the Lord has it set up is cold. Because a lot of these guys, they get into these articles and certain information, basically for the prophets to be able to dissect, basically the Lord has a lot of these guys set up to where, hey, the heavy lifting is already done for the men of the Lord. But the main thing that caught my eye was that disorder. All right, which, again, for those that have ICC, somehow, some way they can link that to the prophets, snatching the men of the Lord off the streets. All right, and so on and so forth.
Go over what it's about, but read the entire order. It's so specific. This is gross. The executive order directs the Justice Department to expand indefinite forced treatment for people with mental health disabilities and substance use disorder, and those living on the street who cannot care for themselves. Using the terms "cannot care for themselves" could mean anything. They could do away with disability altogether. I mean, this is absolutely, it's scary, but it's insane. The order implies to eliminate federal funding for evidence-based programs like harm reduction and housing first, which saves lives. And it directs federal funds towards cities and states that criminalize substance use disorder and punish people for sleeping outdoors. And it specifically talks about urban camping and things of that nature. For those people who live like the van life and travel and sleep in their vans and cars and whatnot, that's going to be done. You're going to be punished, arrested. The order also calls for increased federal data collection on unhoused people and those with mental health disabilities. This is extremely alarming. I mean, like I told you, the ACLU is all over this, but instead of funding services and support, this administration is prioritizing profiling and control. I mean, this is Project 2025 all day, and every single human being should be concerned about this. And if you're not, just please get off my platform. I'm done. I will keep you updated with this, of course. Check out the link. Go to White House.
And you see, apparently or supposedly, FEMA is providing states with funding for these detention facilities. All right. As much as people thought the whole alligator Alcatraz was a joke, it was all fun and games until it wasn't. Reports have already coming out about the harsh living conditions and the torture. And hey, this shit is only going to spread. All right. As I always say, America is going to be the worst place to be. It's going to be the worst place to be. Real soon, in a hot minute. America is going to be ground zero for just all bad. All right. Grab this real quick. In Jeremiah, jump into chapter 1. Jeremiah chapter 1. I'm going to start at 13. And the word of the Lord came unto me the second time, saying, What seest thou? And I said, I see a seething pot, and the face thereof is toward the north. Talking about here in America, all right. Babylon, all right. It says, verse 14, Then the Lord said unto me, Out of the north an evil shall break forth upon all the inhabitants of the land. So again, all hell is getting ready to break loose, and things are already taking place. Like I said, for the most part, a lot of things are just being swept under the rug. All right. And people kind of people really turn a blind eye to it because hey, it's not affected them as of yet. But soon, calamity is going to be at everyone's. Is going to be face to face with everyone. All right. But all hell's getting ready to break loose. Like I said, specifically here in America, which is about to be the worst place. It's about to be ground zero for just all bad. All right, all evil. All right, and again, you know, there's just more and more groundwork being laid. Esau, he needs to have his unjust decrees, all right, his legislation and everything put into place. And he needs to have these things on the books already. So this is why we see certain of these little things here and there. You know, Esau putting all type of laws into place for when they do drop the hammer, hey, he'll be justified. So we're gonna play this next video.
ICE isn't slowing down. They're not just hitting job sites or public spaces anymore now. They're showing up at your door while you're asleep.
That's right! You're going to the Capitol at 12 p.m. today! And there's going to be a whole lot more people there than there were ICE agents and FBI agents here today! Because you know, the majority of Colorado stands with our immigrant community!
ICE is raiding houses now and deporting migrants with no delay.
But it's not clear how many people have been arrested so far, with a lot of those raids happening at an apartment building. Neighbors say they were getting caught up in the chaos.
They banged on the door, opened the door, and they were like knee deep in front of my door. And they were asking me if I was American or if I was legal.
ICE agents have been raiding apartment buildings and houses, going door to door.
And you see, again, Trump's administration has already set it up to where, and brothers, I've already said this, you know, brothers, apostles and bishops, elders have already prophesied through the Spirit that, hey, although they're painting the narrative for the northern tribes, the so-called Hispanic tribes, the Latin tribes, they're going to come for your southern kingdom too. All right. You boneheaded Negroes, they're going to come for you too. All right. And sure enough, you know, the southern kingdom getting touched. What was I going to say? Slack, I lost my train of thought. Let me just continue on.
Pulling people out of their homes and invading their privacy.
What are you doing here, bro? Get out of my house. Leave, go.
Okay.
Go. Stop harassing, bro. Leave. You guys gotta go. You got my door open? Are you guys not gonna?
Oh, Slack, I was going to say, because Trump's administration has already set it up to where they can apparently detain and deport legal citizens. So, and again, they have it on book, you know, their justification. They already have these things on paper. So trouble, hence Jacob's trouble, as you read in Jeremiah 30, it means exactly that. Trouble for Jacob, trouble for Jake's trouble.
You're just trying to knock it down.
Is this your house?
This is my house. I live here.
What's your name?
Don't worry about my name. You gotta get up out of here, dude. It's time for you guys to go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You guys can leave. Have a good day. Stop trying to break into people's house, dude. I just seen your guy trying to get into my house, bro. What's your name and badge number?
Okay, have a good day, all right?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Have a good day.
That's what ICE is doing.
And this is part of something much bigger. These raids are happening in densely populated areas where ICE believes undocumented migrants are hiding out. And no one gets a heads up.
In this community, the work you're doing is wrong and evil. Please leave now. You have an opportunity to walk away, to give up right now. Go find one of the many other jobs in the federal government. We do not want you here in this neighborhood.
ICE has been working strategically to raid the migrants' houses at night, when everyone around has slept.
He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder. And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Go Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil, who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien, charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
They have been going door to door every day to arrest the migrants they are calling criminal aliens. There are many migrants who are convicted of serious crimes and wanted in their countries. These people are deported instantly.
And this Dominican illegal alien, charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member, facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally.
While this operation serves right for the criminals, migrants who have sought asylum in America were dragged to ICE vans before their court hearings and detained, leaving families apart.
Dozens of federal agents descending on this home along the 7500 block of California Avenue, reportedly looking for a man tied to this protest about a week ago in the city of Bell. Officials in military gear using extreme tactics, explosives that blew out windows to the home, and also kicking down the front door with a family inside, including a mother and her 2 children. That individual, however, who authorities were looking for, was not home.
So you see, because this can be cut so many ways, but this is why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians need to stay your ass home. All right. And this is why when this civil war pops off, all right, you Jakes, man, are just going to be mowed down like grass, because a lot of you just going to be in the way. All right. Getting caught out there doing stupid shit you shouldn't be doing, robbing and looting. All right. You know, because Esau, they're going to be going at each other. You know, he's going to be going at his own people. But you Jakes are going to get caught out there being dumb. All right. In your folly. And you're going to get caught out there. And again, like you mentioned, with this whole data collection, you know, your dumb ass gonna be out there doing some dumb shit, and it's not even gonna be a knock on your door. They just gonna kick your shit in and hey, haul you off again for haul you off somewhere for you to never be heard from again. But again, it's not gonna click until you look past these things because you think it can't happen to you, but you just wait until calamity's at your front door. And again, it's not going to knock. It's just going to kick your shit in. I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 1 and I'm going to read verse 11. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me saying, Jeremiah, what seest thou? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. You see, because when you go to this here, speak on that almond tree real quick. It's going to hit different. When prophecy becomes your reality, it's going to hit different. Ecclesiastes 12:5, and when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish. So you see, hey, when these prophecies, you know, because this almond tree could be likened unto these prophecies coming to pass. That almond tree flourishing, it could be likened unto these prophecies coming to pass. And again, it's going to hit different when it's you being separated from your family, your loved ones, snatched up, hauled off to never be heard from again. It's going to hit different. So you Israelites, you continue to spit on the Lord's grace. All right. You continue to turn the shoulder. Right. Well, when that day comes, hey, and you require an answer from the prophets, like what's going on? Why me? Right. Hey, thus saith the Lord, we told you so.
When neighbors neighbors say was involved in an altercation with agents during that recent Bell protest against immigration enforcement. During those demonstrations, a federal agent reportedly brake-checked the driver of a black Jeep Wrangler because of an incident earlier in the protest. He was questioned but let go at the time. This community activist believes agents showed up at his home in Huntington Park today looking for that driver, who neighbors say turned himself into authorities.
These arrests in housing areas, workplaces, and even on the road have left immigrants in fear across the country.
Officers got out and surrounded the building. It was officers from the Department of Homeland Security, DEA, and ATF, ICE. Many residents we spoke with were woken up to federal agents banging on their doors. Many residents were telling us about how agents were going door to door asking people for ID. We got security footage from a woman who lives in the adjacent building. It shows the moment a number of agents filed out the back of the apartment, and you can just see how many of them were inside. A lot of these residents we spoke with told us this was just a really scary morning for them.
They're knocking any time in the morning or at night, surrounding buildings, detaining people right inside their homes.
Friday morning, ICE officers raided at least 3 homes stretching from the Pico Union area to South Los Angeles.
Coming out the shower, and then, it was just, for me, I thought it was going to be a regular Friday, and then next I see, 3 people just have, guns pointed at me.
Elvis Vasquez says he was at his home near West 10th Place at the time federal officials came in with a warrant.
I was a little freaked out, mainly about my siblings, because they're in school, and, they're pretty small, so I was worried about how they feel, because for a minute, I thought they were going to take my mom away.
He says his mom wasn't detained, but his friend's mom was arrested.
I had, a search warrant, so we couldn't really, deny that.
Federal officers continue to crack down on illegal immigration, arresting people across the country, including in Los Angeles. Neighbors say they're scared, initially hoping officers were only going after criminals.
And they're not just detaining the people listed on the warrant. Neighbors, roommates, even U.S. citizens are getting questioned.
ICE is speeding up that removal process, so this is new. Fox got an exclusive look at 80 detainees boarding this.
I mean, this is going to cause all type of fatigue. It's just going to get to the point people are going to get tired. And it's already happening. Like I said, a lot of these things are already happening on a low level, and it's being swept under the rug. But people are already fatigued, fighting back. All right. But this thing is only going to, what's the right wording? This shit is only going to blow over. As I read in that Jeremiah 1, America being that seething pot. And this shit is already at a boiling point. But this shit's getting ready to spill over. All right, times 100. And the thing about it is, because you see, in certain cases where, like I played, they showed the part of the clip here. Basically, ICE getting cussed out. Basically, they got turned back. They was basically a stand down situation. That's not going to be the fortunate case when it's the real deal. All right, these people, man. Again, when they get the green light, it's not going to be no shooting first, asking questions later. It's just going to be shooting. There ain't going to be no asking no questions. Because these people, they're not about to play around with you simple Babylonians. All right, especially when these foreign troops who already have a disdain for you Americans, these people, they're about to have their way with you Americans.
Plane to the El Paso hub. So instead of bringing them to detention centers, taking up that limited space, illegal migrants with final orders of removal, they are being transferred to these hub locations immediately so that they could be quickly deported to their home countries.
We can arrest the individual this morning, process him this afternoon, and have him on a removal flight this evening, same day, saving taxpayer costs and just to make it a more efficient and expedited process to get these folks out of the country.
And according to those numbers, it just...
In case I didn't mention it already, with FEMA is giving states the opportunity to basically get this federal funding so they can build these detention centers. So as much as, because our apostles, they've been teaching these things, our apostles and bishops. And for a long time, of course, it was looked down upon. It was shunned. People talk shit. But hey, I'm going to grab this real quick. And Apostle Bacall, he made mention this a few times, how, hey, a lot of those people that talk shit, man, hey, them scoffers, a lot of scoffers are not talking shit as much as they used to. Because again, hey, prophecy more and more is becoming everyone's reality. It's just a matter of what side do you stand on. Malachi 3:5, and I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers and against the adulterers and against the false swearers and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. So all you people, all right, all you people, because we talk about Jacob's trouble, but it's going to be trouble for the other nations too, from Esau to the nations, all the way down to the 2/3. You see, so hey, swift moves are being made. All right. Swift moves are being made, man. And at the end of the day, you're not going to have anything to say. And at the end of the day, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, the prophet's going to be able to have the last say so, the last laugh, that I told you so moment. Because at this point, we're sick of bearing these people. Now, I can't wait. I pray that the Lord preserves me, my life, keeps my spirit and my body to see this thing play out. All the niggers and niggerettes that have done the men of the Lord wrong, we're about to see how about Shema Shai stand up on our behalf. And boy, I can't wait to see that, Lord willing. These people have been able to have their way for the longest, being able to misuse and abuse the prophets, talk shit, everything. And the Lord is about to stand up on our defense, on our behalf.
Continues to stay significantly down at the southern border. Apprehensions right now about 90% lower right now than this time frame last year, guys.
Across Texas, Arizona, and California, this tactic is becoming common. Apartment complexes, trailer parks, low-income housing, all are being monitored.
Protests happened on June 11th after 2 men in the community were taken into custody. They're from Venezuela and were seeking asylum. Supporters say they entered the country legally and dozens of protesters showed up. Spokane police used smoke and pepper balls to break it up and several arrests were made. The Department of Justice says former City Council President Ben Stuckert invited people on social media to join him, blocking a transport bus with immigration detainees heading to Tacoma. The DOJ accuses the group of blocking ICE agents from doing their jobs and claims one person hit an officer from behind as they were trying to clear a pathway. 2 people have been charged with assaulting a federal officer. The other 7 are charged with conspiracy to impede or injure officers.
Outside courthouses and detention centers, people have already started showing up, holding signs, chanting, demanding an end to these raids.
So our camera captured several scuffles as the angry crowd pushed back at one point, trying to block the federal agent's vehicle from leaving.
At the Concord Immigration Courthouse, as soon as he and the 2 plainclothes agents walked out the doors, they were confronted by a group of about 100 protesters. One woman in the pink hat coming right up to the agents, physically trying to block them. Other federal agents tried to push protesters back, clearing a path as a SUV pulled up with sirens blaring. The man being detained was put inside the back seat as agents tried to control the crowd. But protesters didn't back off. As the SUV tried to inch forward, a couple of protesters got in front of it, pushing against the hood.
And you see, man, Esau he's going to allow this shit to play on, because a lot of this can just be staged psyops and things of that nature. But again, it's going to get to the point where it's going to be the real deal. And we have different examples around the world in certain places where they're using these sonic weapons to clear these crowds, all right, to clear the masses, these protests, right? Esau, man, he's getting ready to come down with that great wrath. And just imagine that. You just popped your woman. Like the one Jake, man, he was coming out the shower, butt naked, raw all out and whatnot. And just imagine that. Peace and safety and the comfort of your home. That's supposed to be your safe haven. That's supposed to be your place of refuge. But that shit is surrounded. Your whole apartment complex is surrounded. And you got these masked agents going door to door, checking people's IDs. That's why I often talk about the dystopian future that's getting ready to be America's environment. It's getting ready to be the new normal, a dystopian environment. And these people, they're not ready. They don't know. They're not used to being without. being in that state of perplexity. These people, they're not used to it. That's why it's going to hit them like a shit ton of bricks. Versus those of us, Lord, when we're at that number, the Lord is keeping us in a constant state of adapting, a constant state of change. The brothers are constantly just fuck it, just going with whatever the Spirit takes us. Brothers, for the most part, are used to this shit not having, right? And just, ultimately just being in a position to where we need Yahweh Shema Shai. The environment is constantly changing for brothers. But these people, they're used to being in that being comfortable, which complacency is a killer. And that's why Yahweh Shema Shai doesn't keep us in a state of being complacent. It's always one thing after another. There's always something. So we're used to this shit. Versus these people, when it hits them, they're not gonna know what to do. But on to the next video. And you see, because this page here, Borders Talk, posts a lot of these type of videos where, instances like this, cases like this, right? Apartment complexes being raided, homes being raided, grocery stores, right? 1 minute, it's business as usual. The next, it's like, what the hell happened? So on to the next video.
Their goal is to inform them of their rights, but for some families, it's too late.
Marco Chipantisa, a desperate father, holding a photo of his daughter Jocelyn while begging federal authorities for her release, standing outside immigration court where he believes she is still being held since her detainment at a routine hearing last week.
Sleeping on the floor, not being fed, with the same pants and shirt that she was kidnapped out of her court hearing last Tuesday.
Advocates translating for the family say the 20-year-old is a student in Brooklyn who came here from Ecuador for a better life.
They said that they cannot return safely to their country because they have been persecuted.
New videos show migrants being detained by federal agents in courthouse hallways, taken into elevators, and vanished to unknown locations, fueling fear and chaos in an already tense system. NYC Comptroller Brad Lander was arrested by ICE after trying to help a migrant escape detention. A bold move that landed the mayoral hopeful in custody for hours.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant? Under my hand. Here. No, fuck it. I was like, let's see the warrant. I'll let go. I think you just see the warrant. No! Take it back. Take it back. You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have to. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I have to see the judicial warrant.
Tensions escalated on July 1st when alarming footage emerged of federal agents detaining migrants just steps away from the entrance of New York City's immigration court.
And you show Esau the devil that he is, man. Esau, he has these agents sitting right outside the courthouse. And depending on how the hearing goes for these so-called illegal immigrants, a lot of them just get taken right out the courthouse. It's like Esau, like the scripture say, Esau, he's like a lion. He lurks. So that's the devil for you.
The unsettling scenes have intensified public concern, highlighting the increasingly aggressive tactics used to target undocumented individuals.
Yes, but I have the right for due process, don't I? So why are you groping me like this? Remember, you have the right to remain silent.
Detained in a Texas federal facility.
And that's what, again, part of Trump's administration is setting it up to where you don't have a due process. You don't have the right to a due process. And more, these Americans, these simple Babylonians overall, they're going to find out. The Bill of Rights and all that shit don't mean nothing. They're about to find that out.
The migrants' fate is on edge, with the threat of deportation growing by the day.
Smith says they begged the judge to no bail.
He spent probably 10 minutes pleading to the judge, these are the consequences of me going back to my country.
Smith asked that we withhold Mamadou's full name out of fear of persecution if he gets deported.
There are numerous reports from that area where LGBT people are persecuted on a regular basis, stoned, they're burnt.
CBS's Adi Guajardo reports on what comes next in this unfolding high-stakes case. According to CBS's Adi Guajardo, if the migrant is deported, they could face serious legal consequences back home, including possible prosecution. The case raises urgent questions about the safety, fairness, and human cost of the deportation process.
That are following a legal process that the immigration system has asked them to follow, right? They're coming in for appointments, and regardless of whether they're even giving another hearing, they're being kidnapped and detained.
Across New York City, Trump's latest deportation plan is sparking outrage. Communities are reeling, shocked, angry, and heartbroken as aggressive immigration raids tear through neighborhoods.
I was in an Uber once with a guy who's actually left and re-entered 3 times, which is crazy. People are really driven.
Donald Trump is beginning mass deportations across the United States this week. And while he has not said exactly where the first raids will take place, he did say they will be arresting migrants in major cities first.
ICE raids have started in Chicago.
I don't think that they're criminals.
We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
America has been propped up by immigrants for so long.
Very sad, but it's good for American people. Trump said you're leaving, bro.
I'm personally from Colombia, so I know a lot of stories about people who have been sent back. And it's definitely a very, very scary thing. It's a very scary process.
From rallies to city halls, people are rising up, demanding change, and fighting to protect their friends, families, and neighbors from a system they see as broken and unjust. The fear on the streets is real. The tension, unmistakable. And this isn't just a New York story. It's unfolding across the country. So, what's your take? Are these tactics going too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, it's only going to get further. Next video.
The head of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirmed to CBS News that the agency will arrest anyone living in the U.S. illegally.
This is happening. ICE just surrounded a Costco in L.A. and detained over 500 plus illegal immigrants in just an hour.
And they just have been avoiding this area altogether. Take a look at this video shot earlier this morning. This is in downtown LA's produce district. This is where people buy supplies. Business owners come here, street vendors come here. There's fresh produce stands and wholesalers, and it's a typically bustling area. But with immigration and customs enforcement raids intensifying throughout the city recently, workers say it's noticeably less crowded here and at many public places as people are not showing up to work or shop out of fear.
The entire Costco was completely emptied out during the raid, with only a handful of people remaining inside. Shoppers and workers alike were either escorted out or fled the scene in panic. The sudden evacuation was prompted by a large-scale operation in which ICE agents surrounded the store, blocking all exits and conducting on-site detentions.
Get the license plates. Worried about the wrong crimes and shit.
They're normal cars, bro.
Get the license plates.
No? But they're taking people who are working. That's crazy.
Worried about the wrong.
Multiple people are joining protests against Trump's immigration policies as tensions rise. Demonstrators are gathering outside Costco locations and other sites targeted by ICE. Meanwhile, ICE agents remain active and continue their operations across the area, detaining undocumented workers. The situation is unfolding rapidly, and public outcry is growing louder with each passing hour.
When ICE agents arrived in white vans, protesters tried to block them from entering the parking lot. They were quickly pushed aside, and during the scuffle, several people were reportedly injured, including SEIU President David Huerta. Rosa says they were all forcibly removed.
They grabbed anyone that was there. So they grabbed my daughter and pushed her on the fence. I tried to get her, and then the FBI got me from the throat.
The spokesperson for U.S. Attorney Bill Lassaley says the raids at ambulance locations were conducted to serve search warrants based on probable cause that the employer was using fictitious documents for some of its workers.
Not everyone caught in the ICE raid at Costco was a direct employee of the store. Many of those detained were third-party vendors who regularly operate at the location, including independent contractors, cleaning staff, supply chain workers, and delivery drivers. These individuals, often overlooked in public narratives, found themselves swept up in the large-scale enforcement action. One South Florida-based contractor said he is still reeling from the shock, describing the scene as chaotic and terrifying, with agents moving in quickly and offering little explanation.
A man records, informing agents he's doing so because they're on private property. It's a job site Jeff Schaefer of Schaefer Construction hired subcontractors to work on.
Like family to you. So it's very upsetting to see that.
Schaefer tells us federal agents took one of the workers away in handcuffs on Friday. We see the man wearing a white shirt being guided away by a federal agent.
I'm told that, he's lived in the United States for 15 years, this guy. And again, he's got a wife, he's got a kid.
Schaefer tells us his subcontractor is up against the wall in this video in a yellow shirt with federal agents standing in front of him. Then we see Schaefer coming into view, wearing a dark red collared shirt, filming and observing.
He was trying to get, his guy's cell phone so that he could get it to his guy's wife.
He told everyone to pack up and go from the job site for the day after it all unfolded.
I'd like to find out what...
Not only was Costco targeted, but several other businesses in the area have also come under scrutiny. Local farmers markets, small shops, and independent vendors are now being affected by the ongoing ICE operations. Witnesses report that agents have been showing up unannounced, questioning workers, and detaining individuals suspected of being undocumented. The raids have sparked fear and confusion among both business owners and employees, many of whom are unsure of their rights or what actions to take.
Enforcement agents targeted dozens of suspected undocumented workers at a large meatpacking facility. CBS's Ian Lee is there tonight with the latest on those arrests.
So, it's cold, man, because not only are they kicking in doors of homes and things of that nature, but grocery stores, supermarkets, and so on and so forth. So, like the scripture say, the storehouses shall appear empty, right? And part of that is due to from what it looks like, these raids. So, this shit cold, man. Again, that almond tree flourishing. More and more prophecies becoming everyone's reality, man. And Esau, right in our face, he's besieging us. He's locking everyone in. He's setting up that trench, backing everyone into a corner. So, what are you gonna do? Let me play this last video.
ICE is raiding grocery stores and deporting people all across the country. Wait till you see this.
Federal agents at a Stater Brothers market, at least a dozen agents with the FBI, Homeland Security investigations, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection were at the scene in the store, some wearing covering on their faces, others going inside. A number of people pointed their cell phone cameras and shouted at them to get out. Ontario PD also at the scene.
These crazy
actors says they responded to the word of a possible assault of a federal agent and had no other role beyond that.
Oh, someone was assaulted.
Eyewitness tells us the federal agents detained a man at an adjacent coffee shop. Federal agents can be heard in the video telling bystanders they were at the market for a targeted enforcement operation.
That was California. These are targeted operations. They're not here for no reason.
Some
And this is
dressed in
Pennsylvania.
military gear with helmets and guns, detaining people at the Super Gigante market in Norristown Wednesday morning.
They come here like they're fighting a war, and they literally came and took grocery store workers and people shopping in the store.
Local immigration rights advocates say it was an ICE raid, but an ICE spokesperson said agents from Homeland Security and the IRS were executing a federal court-authorized search warrant. ICE alleges that in the process, 14 non-U.S. citizens were taken into custody for immigration violations. Denise
Plus, you got a whole bunch of other crap going on in these
Norristown
places.
disputes that number, claiming 23 immigrants were detained.
23.
The group said its rapid response team began monitoring the situation early Wednesday morning.
ICE is here! ICE is here!
ICE agents on the ground in West Norriton this morning taking
This is the same raid.
individuals into custody as outraged community members looked on and some tried intervening.
This is illegal. I can't stand this. We got to stop it somehow. I don't know what to do.
ICE tells NBC 10 federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations and the IRS were at the Super Gigante Farmers Market conducting a federal court-authorized search.
I just saw all this commotion, people here, and all this stuff going on, and I asked somebody what's going on, and they're telling me that these ICE people are coming and taking people, and I can't take it. What is anybody doing about this?
Well, what people are doing about it is they're deporting people who've entered America illegally and are working at criminal enterprises. These places have the FBI, the IRS, and Immigration Customs Enforcement over at these spots. They're part of massive criminal empires that shouldn't be in America at all.
When they dropped in yesterday at 11 o'clock, I have no doubt that cult enterprises were caught with their pants down, so to speak.
Tuesday morning, federal agents swarmed their 5 locations, 4 here in Arizona and 1 in Foley, Alabama. 5 restaurants.
The owners of this business, according to the indictment, recruited aliens, that is, Mexican citizens, to come across the border for a financial purpose.
The 10-page indictment says the Klaustons intentionally sought to bypass a federal employment system called E-Verify. That's a system that business owners are required to use to check if prospective employees have eligibility to work legally. The alleged scheme went as far as the Klaustons creating a fake cleaning company called R&R AZ Cleaning LLC to pay some of their workers well below minimum wage, often in cash, potentially shielding the payments from the Colt Grill business. Prosecutors also allege Robert Klauston directed his recruiters to fire U.S. citizens and hire more undocumented workers, specifically Mexican nationals, who would work for a lesser wage.
The business won't have to pay the appropriate taxes, so that there's a lot of financial incentive.
Yeah, there sure is.
To try to cheat the government in this aspect.
In addition to the arrests of the owners and 2 employees accused of facilitating the hiring of these undocumented workers, Homeland Security investigations say they also detained 20 people working at the Colt Grill locations on immigration violations.
So that's what's going on at these businesses. They're saving money on employment because they're getting rid of Americans specifically to hire people who are here illegally. And in the case of this grill that got raided, they were telling people that were on the other side of the border, hey, come on in, we got a job for you. That is awful. These business owners need to go straight to jail.
Root expects those workers could be used to testify against the owners if the Cloustons choose to take their case to trial.
I sincerely believe that they were very surprised, and they're in hot water right now.
Yeah. Look, the grill's name is Colt.
And Sean,
it's supposed to be an American grill.
And Sean, there are a lot of moving parts to this. But the one that intrigues me is differentiating between human smuggling and hiring and employing
This is smuggling
here illegally.
There's no difference.
In this case, it's both, right?
It is both, and it's a much different burden for the prosecution to reach a trial in terms of convicting them on both. But the key here is, and I mentioned it in the story, there's 2 employees that they hired specifically to facilitate the human smuggling. Those were people who were also in the country illegally that potentially had those connections across our southern border to bring people across.
Those would be gang members and active cartel members. Those are the people with connections to bring people across the border for financial purposes. These are the worst of the worst criminals you could ever imagine. But the raids over the past few days have seen even larger criminal organizations taken down.
Yeah, that's right, Lenise and Cameron. Federal agents moved in quickly this morning, arresting dozens of illegal immigrants, breaking up an alleged transnational organized crime group right here in Alabama. Tonight,
and again, man, because Jake is always the face of terrorism. All right. Because like brothers have been talking about ever since the Biden administration and this whole thing with the migrants, what happened to where's the narrative concerning these other nations that have been flooding over here to America? Again, they want to paint Jake as a face of terrorism and things of that nature. And it's not to justify these wicked Jakes, all right? It's not to justify the wicked whatsoever. But, that shit's cold. They setting Jake up to pull one of those gotcha bitch moments. But just imagine that. I'm going to grab this in Ecclesiastes 9 and 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. So, again, one day you're waking up, business as usual. You're taking your children to school. You might go on a family dinner, or whatever the case may be, and then boom, next minute, you're being snatched from the very people that you love, to never hear from them again, or to never be heard from again. And Esau, more and more he's setting that trench, that besiege, that siege, and trapping everyone in, backing everyone into a corner. The stage for Jacob's trouble is being set. It was all this. That's why I say it's like a silent epidemic, all right? Because, both these pages that I played from, the last one and this guy here, Cash Jordan, they were, going to a lot of these deportations and raids and things of that nature, and it's being kind of swept under the rug. That's why, like I said again, a silent epidemic, not really reporting on these things. But that's why, like I said in the beginning, Yahweh Shema Shah has it set up to where a lot of these guys, pretty much for the most part, man, they do the heavy lifting for the prophets to bring this information out. So, being in the midst of the downfall of this so-called great empire is beautiful to witness. All right. The only tears that brothers are going to shed are tears of joy. As this place goes down, it continues to go down until Yahushua comes to deliver the knockout blow. Again, Jacob shall not be utterly consumed. In the midst of all this chaos, destruction, Yahweh Shema Shai, he promised a remnant, a safe passage and preservation, because it's crazy work out here, and it's only going to get more crazier. It's only going to get more desperate and dire. And Yahweh Shema Shai, you wonder why. As far as the hopefully elect brothers, you catching hell, and it's just like, damn, But the Lord is just on our behalf, Lord willing. The Lord is just setting us up to where, hey, more and more we're leaning on the Lord more. You wonder why your tribulation is is getting more magnified. It's hurting more. But again, the Lord is just He's just setting us up for the win. Because all we're doing, and all we're going to continue to do is just trust in the Lord more, lean on Yahweh Shema Shai more. So if you're wondering why it hurts, well, that's why. It's hurting more. Well, that's why. Because it's about to get bad out here. So it's going to get worse. So Lord, when this was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.